going on, guys? Today we're going to be building a full exhaust system for the new Range Rover. All right, so as you just heard, the new Range Rover is way too quiet. If you missed last time, this is my new vehicle. This is a 2011 Range Rover Sport Supercharged. So it has the 5-liter V8 and it makes around 510 horsepower. So with all that power, it's basically completely silent. So that's what we're gonna change today. And also I mentioned last time, I wanna work on some of the rust that's underneath here at the same time. So first off, I'm gonna be removing this exhaust. So I'm going to remove the exhaust first so I have some more access to grind away. I'm just basically going to wire wheel any of the rust on the frame. This kind of looks the worst, but it's really just a skid plate for the gas tank. Not a huge deal. It's not really structural, but I will clean that up as well. I'll focus mainly on any of the actual frame members. So a lot of it's surface rust. I'll just be wire wheeling it, and then I've got some rust specific paint that I'll put on there. But like I said, I got to get the exhaust out of the way first, and these bolts look pretty rusted, so we'll see how that goes. All right, so I was able to get the old exhaust off, and then I also was able to clean up all the rust. So you can see I was mainly focusing on the frame rails, the structural members here. I did kind of clean up this gas tank skid plate. I'll probably just end up getting a new one of those at some point. I first removed any big chunks of rust with a metal scraper, and then I went ahead and used the wire wheel on my angle grinder, and then I used this rust reformer paint. This is a Rust-Oleum product. It is meant to go onto rust, but you still want to remove any of the loose stuff first. So I did both of the rails here and then anything in the back end as well. So here you can see the exhaust. It wasn't that easy to get off because the bolts were really rusted. So I actually cut the 2 bolts off this 2-bolt flange. And then the other side was on with a strap clamp. So I just cut that clamp in half to be able to take that off. Don't ask me why they have this type of setup. I couldn't tell you, but that is how it is from factory, having the flange on one side and then the strap clamp on the other. And now you can really see why this thing is so quiet. These 2 huge mufflers slash resonators, and then also at the end on each side are mufflers as well. So this whole thing weighs a lot. It was actually kind of difficult to take down by myself. It's all one piece. But now this is what I'm gonna have to be recreating now with my new exhaust. So here are the parts I'm going to use. So this exhaust currently is 2.5 inch the whole way back to these mufflers, and then this tip on the end is about 3.5 inches. So I will start with 2.5 to match up to the existing downpipes or mid pipes, whatever you want to call them. They are the pipes that have the cats in them. So I'm leaving the cats in place, and then I'll start here with 2.5 inch. So again, I'm gonna have to use this 2-bolt flange on one side, and then I will do this new strap clamp on the other. I am going to add some new flex pipes here. So you can see this one has some flex pipes. It's a good idea to have flex pipes somewhere in your exhaust. If everything is fixed, it can move a lot when it heats up, and then it won't really be sitting where you want. So it's good to have the flex pipes in there. So I will put those in the 2.5 inch section, and then almost immediately I'm gonna step up to 3 inch. So my main exhaust is gonna be 3 inch. So then this is some 3-inch pipe. So it's gonna be pretty straight here to replace these mufflers. And then I'm gonna have to be doing some bends. So I have some bends here. I'm just gonna cut those up to what I need basically. And then somewhere in this section and then also over on this section. I'm gonna do a slip joint just so it's not all one piece. It's nice to have some joints there, especially when you have dual exhaust, so that you can make some fine adjustments with how it fits and how it looks with the rear bumper. So I'm gonna do 2 slip joints, and that's what these are for. So I'll have 2 more clamps at the back there. And then after that joint, I will probably come up to about this section where it will straighten out, and then that's where I'm gonna step up to 4-inch. So I've got these 3 to 4-inch adapters, and then this is a 4-inch pipe here. So I'm gonna have a dual 4-inch basically coming out the back instead of these are like 3.5. So I think I can step up a little bit and that'll look good. And you can see where all of the factory hangers are. I will definitely use these back too. This has 3. I don't think I really need 3 because my system's gonna be a lot lighter than this. So I'll most likely use this rear one and this one in the front. I don't think I really need to use the middle one. And to make those hangers, I will be using this rod. This is stainless steel rod that I can heat up and bend to what I need. And everything I have here is stainless steel. If I'm gonna take the time to build a full exhaust, I want it to last, so I always use stainless steel. And I am gonna be using a TIG welder for this. I'm not gonna be doing any MIG, so I always TIG weld all my exhaust. That's the best thing to do, especially when you're working with stainless steel. So my basic process is to build from the front to the back, and I'm usually going back and forth with having it on the car, doing a tack on the car, then bringing it off the car to do more of the final welding. Whenever I am doing the full final welds, I will be back purging, so I will be filling the inside of the tube with the argon. So I have a separate argon bottle there for that. This is the argon that hooks up to my welder, and then this I have just the tubing that I can seal onto the ends of the pipe to fill the inside. And that's really important to do when you're working with stainless steel, because if you don't, it will get all sugared up on the inside and basically cause a really bad weld that will be weak and eventually corrode. So that's the basic plan. Let's get to work. All right, guys, so I just got the exhaust all finished up, and it did go pretty smoothly. It was a lot of work. I'm currently on day 5 of working on this. Of course, the first day was just basically getting the old exhaust off and also cleaning up that rust. So 4 solid days of building this. So I would say I have at least 35, maybe 40 hours in it. And this is probably the most complex and the largest system I've ever built. Just because of this design, how I kept it dual the whole way back. I didn't join it into a single, and I wanted to keep the duals out the back, so it kind of just doubles everything. It's basically like building 2 complete exhaust systems. And so what I did was I focused on these straight sections first. I built those up to this point, and then I took them off and I did all the final welds on those because I wanted to do all those round welds before I attach the 2 pipes together because it makes it way easier. So then once I got all those final welds on, put those back on the car, I then started building the hangers. So these are some pretty complicated bent hangers, so I did do all the bending by hand. I heat the rod up and then put it in my vise and then use a bigger piece of pipe to do the bends. And then I also use the hangers to join the 2 pipes together. So if I flip this up, you can see what I mean. So this is the rear hanger, and then this is the front hanger. So then once I got all those hangers at least tacked on, I could then start building my way back. So then 2 bends here to go out to either side. This is right around where the diff is. And then some straight sections, and then 1 more bend. And then we have the 3 to 4 inch adapter, and then the 4-inch straight piece of tube. So both of these actually ended up being almost 24 inches at the back. I like to keep it a little bit longer, not just have, you know, the last 6 inches to be bigger. I think it looks a lot better to have that longer, and it also helps with deepening the sound as well. I did end up going with a 20-degree slant tip. So the stock ones are actually 35 degrees, and I think that's like way too slanted. And so with the rear bumper, I like the way this 20-degree looks. And I also went right to the edge, so right there, basically right to the edge of the bumper. I didn't want it to stick out, but I didn't want it so tucked in like the stock ones were. So yeah, then once I got the rest tacked up, I just took everything off one more time, had to do the final welds on all of the rear tip sections, and also some of these, and then of course all the hangers. I did add 1 more rod here on top just to keep everything together nicely. And I actually ended up using the 2 rear hangers because the front one would have been in this section in front of the flex pipes, so that would not have worked out. I wanted to keep those unfixed so it makes it way easier to attach the exhaust, and any misalignment gets taken up by the flex pipes. And so as you can see, it is much simpler than the stock system, and I did just weigh them. The stock system is 69 pounds, and all of my parts put together are 38 pounds, so over 30 pounds of weight savings there. So now all that's left to do is to get this bolted back on the car and see how it sounds. All right, guys, so I had the exhaust on for about a week now, and I have been driving around a little bit to see if I like the sound. It is pretty nice, but it does sound a little weird having the true duals. It's more of like an independent sound on each side instead of like a true V8 sound. So what I wanted to do is add this H pipe. So that's what I just did. I basically just cut a little piece of a 3-inch and then I coped it. I tried to use a hole saw at first, but with stainless, it's just really hard. So I did like 1/2 with a hole saw, and then I just ended up doing it with an angle grinder, getting it pretty close and sanding it. And then I made the holes in the pipes. I did leave these together since they are exactly how I want them. So I just left them together, made it a little more difficult to weld, but really not too bad. So I cut the holes in each side, and then I was able to slip actually from this end and slide it in to get it to the right position and get it welded up. So now I think I'm gonna like this sound a little bit more, and it might have a little less rasp. And this also is good for performance. When you put an H pipe or an X pipe in, it helps with scavenging the cylinders and increasing the velocity of the exhaust. And that mixing will help smooth out the tone instead of having that side-by-side pulsing. So now I'm gonna throw this on and we'll see if it sounds any better. We're doing it with the windows up right now. It's really not too loud. So when you're on it, it makes a little bit of noise, but you're like normal driving here, cruising, it's not bad at all. Then if I downshift, you can hear there's some backfire. Like windows down now from inside. It's kind of funny. It reminds me of the 135, but like a little bit more aggressive.